Later, Ellen. See you never. Good luck with that UK weather. You say that Trump's what sent you packing. We know it's cause your career be lacking. Enjoy your cricket, tea and biscuit. Fuel up and fade out, you stupid dick. Read all about the latest issue. This just in. Nobody will miss you.
MC Gene, our Arkansas Eminem.
News article after article of people being like, Ellen is a nasty person. And all these staffers started to come out, not for nothing, but I know a guy, I know him very well, whose sister worked for her, who said, you were not allowed to make eye contact with Ellen in the halls of that show.
Imagine for a moment the world's most radiant smile, the most infectious laugh, the very embodiment of daytime joy. This figure, adored by millions, built an empire on the promise of kindness, a daily dose of sunshine delivered straight into homes across the globe. But what if that dazzling facade, that carefully constructed persona was nothing more than a masterfully executed illusion? What if beneath the surface of that cheerful dance and those heartwarming giveaways lay a truth so stark, so utterly devoid of the warmth it projected, that its eventual exposure sent shockwaves through Hollywood? This isn't just a story of a celebrity downfall, it's a surgical deconstruction of a meticulously crafted myth, brought to light not by vengeful whispers, but by two media titans who refused to let the spotlight blind them to what was truly happening behind the scenes. Get ready, because the Queen of Nice was about to trip over some cold, hard reality, and what Greg Gutfeld and Megyn Kelly uncovered would dismantle her empire, piece by glittering deceptive piece.
Ellen DeGeneres feeling the heat as more employees, past and present, from her show say that they were working in a toxic environment. Some Hollywood actors also speaking out against the talk show host now. Let's bring in Carly Shimkus of Fox News Headlines 24/7. Carly, good morning. Great to see you. So what more are we hearing on this story?
Yeah, so things are really spiraling here, and it's sort of two situations unfolding at once. One of them has to do with a mountain of complaints against the show's executive producers. Some 47 past and current employees have complained to BuzzFeed News. Allegations ranging from a toxic work environment, bullying, now even harassment.
On camera, she laughed while she badgered her staff. And so all good things must end. And also the Ellen DeGeneres show. Yes, the 83-year-old entertainer just announced that the upcoming 19th season of her show will be its last. Apparently, she created a workplace more toxic than an Amazon warehouse in Chernobyl. Countless allegations surfaced last summer that the show's work environment was rife with harassment and discrimination. Following those charges, Ellen's ratings dropped faster than Kevin Spacey's pants at a boy band pool party. Try to say that fast.
For years, Ellen DeGeneres reigned supreme, a cross between a motivational speaker and a beloved friend, guiding viewers through segments of awkward celebrity interviews, product plugs, and exuberant crowd giveaways. Her brand was meticulously curated, a beacon of positivity that seemed untouchable. She was the monarch of midday laughter, effortlessly floating across television screens, convincing an entire generation that she was one of them, albeit with better dance moves and a seemingly endless supply of good cheer. But beneath that polished veneer, behind the ever-present velvet curtain of forced giggles and choreographed cheerfulness, something was festering, something far less Disney, far more unsettlingly dystopian. This wasn't a gentle bubble of discomfort, it was a pressure cooker of workplace weirdness, boiling on high heat, left unchecked for far too long. The grins seen on camera were flawless, yet hollow. The applause, prompted and rehearsed. The entire production, engineered with the precision of a military drill, somehow managed to exude the warmth of a DMV on a Monday morning. The whispers started subtly, then grew into a chorus. Ellen, the icon of kindness, was, in fact, a deeply unpleasant person to work for.
If you saw her, this is not a nice person. So she eventually got canceled, but now she's coming back. She's got a Netflix special. That's the right response.
Yeah.
She's got a Netflix special. And here's the capper. On the promo, and apparently there's now articles out about from people who have seen the preview, she plays the victim. And she says, poor me. And she actually has the nerve to say that she was run out of Hollywood.
I mean, Ellen got canceled for real a few years ago from just being a jerk.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like a single comment she said or something she did, just lots of people saying that working for her was a living nightmare and that she's a jerk. And I think that's probably why she wants to leave, because she hasn't really been able to make a comeback.
Yeah.
I mean, remember how everybody loved Ellen? They're like, Ellen, we love you, Ellen's here, yay. And then that all went away. So she probably has been thinking of a reason to leave, and now she thinks that this is the reason to try to make it look like some sort of, look how afraid I am, I feel how you feel because I'm, you know, of Trump.
Yeah, it was just the excuse. She is, Emily, I watched her comedy special. It was like a huge pity party. It was about how she was lamenting how her reputation has suffered. She's essentially as popular as a pit bull with monkeypox.
The dam finally broke, not with a trickle, but a deluge of accusations that painted a chilling picture. News article after article began to emerge, citing numerous individuals who described Ellen as a truly nasty presence. And then, the staffers themselves started to come out of the shadows. One particularly chilling account circulated, claiming that employees were explicitly not allowed to make eye contact with Ellen in the halls of her own show. Imagine, walking past the very person whose name graces the marquee, yet being forced to avert your gaze, lest you incur her displeasure. It was an environment where the on-screen persona of sunshine, sneakers, and studio dance parties sharply contrasted with an oppressive, fear-laden reality. Ellen DeGeneres was undeniably feeling the heat as more employees, both past and present, from her show came forward, testifying to working in a truly toxic environment. Even some prominent Hollywood actors began speaking out, lending their voices to the growing chorus of discontent. Things were spiraling rapidly, a two-pronged crisis unfolding at once. There was, first, a mountain of complaints against the show's executive producers, with BuzzFeed News reporting allegations from some 47 past and current employees. The claims ranged from a pervasive toxic work environment and insidious bullying to horrifyingly even harassment. The carefully constructed image of America's sweetheart was beginning to crack under the weight of these undeniable truths.
She's putting this on Trump. Do you think that she's going to be, just everybody's going to love her in England?
Especially the jihadis who love the lesbians so much. They're going to love her there. I think she's fleeing for way more than her anger over Trump.
If Trump is truly responsible for Ellen's exodus, shouldn't that go down as his greatest achievement in the last 8? I mean, he should get the Nobel Prize.
He's literally going to have a who's who of left. I mean, the entire 80s music catalog is gone. You got Springsteen, Cher, Madonna. I just don't know why they keep showing pictures of Aaron Rodgers with blonde hair.
Ultimately, all good things, and certainly the Ellen DeGeneres show must come to an end. The 83-year-old entertainer finally announced that the upcoming 19th season of her show would be its last. The workplace she had presided over was now openly described as more toxic than an abandoned industrial site. Countless allegations surfaced, painting a grim picture of an environment rife with harassment and discrimination. Following those devastating charges, Ellen's ratings plummeted faster than a lead balloon in a vacuum, or as some quipped, faster than Kevin Spacey's pants at a boy band pool party. The entire program, it became clear, was a meticulously orchestrated performance. 1 part tap dance, 2 parts televised therapy session, all designed to create the illusion of comfort while running on fumes of control. What the vast audience saw was laughter and lollipops, feel-good stories, and generous giveaways. What they didn't see was an atmosphere micromanaged to an absurd degree, tighter than a toddler's diet, where spontaneity was forbidden, and genuine human connection came with a rigid backstage manual. If you ever encountered her off camera, the consensus was clear. This was not a nice person. But then, in a move that stunned many, she announced her return, not to television, but with a Netflix special, and the audacity didn't stop there. Preview reports revealed Ellen playing the victim, uttering a pathetic "poor me," and actually having the nerve to claim she was run out of Hollywood. Every segment, every smile, every tear-jerking giveaway had been calculated, not out of inherent generosity, but out of a ruthless brand strategy. The set itself was a pastel-colored illusion, the crew merely disposable gears in a kindness-themed marketing machine. It was the entertainment world's most elaborate optical illusion, a feel-good empire where nobody felt truly good unless they were rich, famous, or holding a clip-on mic.
For you on this, this is perfect for you. Because I'm seeing this week that there is an attempted comeback by somebody who did not cross one of those fateful lines of the misstepping on their sacred cows of gender or race or sexuality.
Yeah.
But she was said to be a nasty biatch, and that's Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah.
So her show got canceled after she had this testy exchange with Dakota Johnson, where something happened where Dakota said, oh, I had this birthday party. And Ellen said, well, why didn't you invite me? You didn't invite me. And she said, like, no, I did invite you, Ellen. That's not what happened. And Ellen had blown her off. And then tried to play the victim on the set with her.
Then, like a glitter-covered Jenga tower collapsing in a thunderstorm, the structure imploded. Years of hidden pressure finally gave way. The carefully sprinkled fairy dust wore off, revealing the grimy reality beneath. And who came charging into the wreckage? Not with a mop or a PR-friendly spin, but with stilettos and a smile sharp enough to slice through 2 decades of manufactured joy. Megyn Kelly. She didn't tiptoe into the chaos. She catwalked straight into the eye of the scandal. Armed with undeniable receipts, decades of media training, and a battle-hardened instinct for uncovering nonsense, she wasn't interested in providing comfort. She wasn't there to fluff pillows or soften the blow for Ellen. She came to audit the empire and expose every single crack in its foundation. And she didn't whisper, she detonated. For Megyn, Ellen wasn't merely another television figure experiencing a branding hiccup. She was a walking, talking manifestation of the rot baked deep into the modern entertainment machine. A pastel-draped mascot for a carefully managed moral facade. Ellen, as Megyn argued, got exposed for being a jerk, not for a single misstep, but because countless individuals bore witness to working for her as a living nightmare. Megyn meticulously dissected the timeline, the carefully choreographed rise, the hollow apologies that rang false, and the precipitous ratings dive that followed like a scene from a soap opera written by karma itself. She brilliantly highlighted the infuriating double standard. When a conservative even sneezes out of step, the media descends like a flock of pigeons on spilled popcorn, tearing them apart. But Ellen, she received the full spa treatment, a few fluffy headlines, a carefully crafted sympathy arc, and suddenly, she was portrayed as the victim of being misunderstood. Megyn didn't buy it for a second, and she made sure no one else could either.
We must stay in the hell of Trump. We're out of here. By the way, Walter.
I think we could let the illegal aliens stay if we get enough of Hollywood to self-deport.
Yes. I will take 1,000.
You know, exactly.
I'll take 1,000 Venezuelan migrants for one share.
Exactly. If you can get one Hollywood star to leave, you get to stay. Otherwise, it's out.
You know what, though? It's funny. I just want to bring this up to you. You can comment or not.
Yeah.
So she left a celebrity base to go to London, and she's already ensconced with other celebrities. So she's basically still in the same bubble.
She's not going back to London. She's going to Oxfordshire. And as the only person on this set who attended Oxford University.
No, way to drop that.
It's true. I can tell you that there is nothing high British Oxford society loves more than a failed and despised American talk show host.
Just when Ellen's media protection program looked its most threadbare, in stormed Greg Gutfeld, America's favorite sarcastic wrecking ball. While Megyn Kelly wielded a scalpel, Gutfeld showed up with a jackhammer, a laugh track, and a devilish grin that promised no quarter. What did he do first? He tore the label off Ellen's meticulously crafted sainthood and slapped on a new, more accurate one. Sponsored by Hollywood Delusion, Gutfeld saw straight through the sparkle and the manufactured sincerity. To him, Ellen wasn't a fallen angel. She was merely the latest woke mascot to faceplant spectacularly on her own pedestal of self-importance. He began, as he always does, with mockery that carried profound meaning. That whole apology tour Ellen embarked on? Greg didn't just call it theatrical, he called it Oscar-worthy. He scoffed, declaring it the most uncomfortable comedy sketch Ellen had ever performed. Not for lack of trying, but because nothing screams insincerity quite like a publicist-crafted script delivered under unforgiving studio lighting. He laughed the hardest at the absurd notion that Ellen was just learning about the environment she allegedly created. Oh, really? He quipped, like she tripped and accidentally ran a toxic workplace? Gutfeld perfectly framed it. Hollywood consistently sells redemption arcs like vending machine gum, but when the main character in this supposed redemption is the one flipping the script, that's not genuine growth. It's merely calculated PR yoga. He tore into her "I'm still learning" routine like it was the plotline of a failed Netflix pilot. Because, let's face it, when you've been rich and famous for decades, the only thing you're genuinely still learning is how to skillfully avoid taking responsibility. Gutfeld's undeniable thesis was stark. Ellen didn't just fall, she meticulously tripped on her own inflated image while attempting a trust fall into a pile of unpaid interns.
A show, home of Matt Lauer. that the bad press actually had nothing to do with her decision. Right, and the Titanic didn't hit an iceberg, it chose to sink.
If it was why I was quitting, I would have not come back this year. I really did think about not coming back because it did, you know, I mean, it was devastating. I am a kind person. I am a person who likes to make people happy.
No, the real reason, she says, is it was just too easy. Telling the Hollywood Reporter, quote, when you're a creative person, you constantly need to be challenged. And as great as this show is, and as fun as it is, it's just not a challenge anymore. Well, if that's true, here's an idea. When your viewership is down 43%, why not consider that the challenge?
Ellen's attempts to frame her show's cancellation as a personal choice, a lack of challenge, rang hollow to those who had observed her downfall. She told The Hollywood Reporter, when you're a creative person, you constantly need to be challenged. And as great as this show is, and as fun as it is, it's just not a challenge anymore. Gutfeld's swift retort was brutal. Well, if that's true, here's an idea. When your viewership is down to 43%, why not consider that the challenge? As the narrative continued to unravel, Ellen pulled her most desperate move yet, attempting to pin her entire exodus on Donald Trump. She and her wife were reportedly leaving their millionaire haven in Montecito for England, dramatically declaring they'd never come back in the wake of Trump's win. Gutfeld, ever the satirist, mocked this claim mercilessly, quipping that if Trump was truly responsible for Ellen's departure, it should go down as his greatest achievement, easily earning him the Nobel Prize. He pointed out the sheer absurdity of her escape, knowing full well she wasn't truly fleeing, but merely relocating to another comfortable celebrity bubble. She's not going back to London, he scoffed. She's going to Oxford. And as the only person on that set who attended Oxford University, he delighted in dropping the sarcastic truth. There is nothing high British Oxford society loves more than a failed and despised American talk show host. What Megyn and Greg collectively saw was a culture that didn't just tolerate hypocrisy, it massaged it, praised it, and syndicated it. The entertainment industry didn't merely protect Ellen, it depended on her. Her glittering, seemingly benevolent presence allowed them all to pretend everything was still pure, still playful, still safe. But when that sparkly curtain finally cracked, the only surprise was how long it took for anyone to admit the glitter was just ordinary dust.
DeGeneres bails for the UK. All right, I'm gonna go to you first, Kat, because this is such a, I think you understand the story. So Ellen and her wife, Portia, have left their millionaire haven of Montecito for England. Now they're saying they'll never come back in the wake of Trump's win. Do you think that's the reason why she's leaving?
Absolutely not.
Together, Megyn Kelly and Greg Gutfeld didn't just expose Ellen DeGeneres. They systematically dismantled her myth, piece by glittering deceptive piece. This wasn't fueled by outrage or personal vendetta, but by a chilling precision and a sarcasm sharp enough to shave the layers off Hollywood's collective delusion. There was no redemption arc here, no tearful comeback story set to slow piano music under a heartfelt monologue. This wasn't daytime television. This was reality, stark and unyielding, dragged out into the harsh sun and forced to take off its makeup. Ellen, for all her practiced smiles and choreographed dances, became a cautionary tale, not just for celebrities blinded by their own platforms, but for anyone mistaking a polished brand for a genuine personality. She wasn't merely canceled in the fleeting way many celebrities are, she was profoundly, undeniably revealed. And once that elaborate illusion cracked, not even her famous sneakers could outrun the relentless pursuit of the truth. Megyn Kelly meticulously exposed the architectural rot behind the curtain, laying bare the foundation of deceit. Greg Gutfeld, with characteristic flair, lit the stage on fire and proceeded to roast marshmallows over the ashes of her shattered image. And America, the audience she had so masterfully charmed for decades, watched not with shock, but with the kind of slow, knowing nod that only comes when the mask finally slips off and people universally say, "Ah, there it is." This wasn't Ellen's show anymore. This was the final, brutal episode, written by karma and produced by reality. And in the bitter end, Ellen didn't just lose her throne, she danced herself straight off the stage into obscurity.